we're starting your college and career readiness, Unit 1. And so this lesson is basically, it starts and it gives you strategies and skills to be successful either in college in the future or whatever career field that you choose, like vocational or trade-based. Okay, so because this is a heavy reading unit, I'm going to show you a quick way to get all the information that you need out of the unit versus reading it all and then trying to do your lessons at the end. Okay, so this is called Cornell note-taking. And the type of Cornell note-taking that we're going to actually use is the 3Q, 3R method. So right here at the top of the page, I want you to write SQ, 3R. And I'm going to go over those and help you know what those are. SQ, 3R. And this method is important, and it will help us at any of our students at Cornell because this approach is primarily for reading textbooks. I don't stand up in front of the class and lecture, right? You do most of your reading, most of your learning how.
By read.
And you do this with me telling you what to read, or do you do this on your own?
Sometimes you have to, you have to show me what topics to read, but mostly I do all the reading.
Independent study, correct. Okay, so our first acronym, the first letter of our acronym is S, and that's survey. So whenever you start a knowledge unit, your first thing you should do would be to survey the written material. And that's just a quick overlook at vocabulary, subtitles. Look at those things and you kind of develop an idea of what your lesson is going to be about, correct? So if you look at these, read a couple of those headings for me.
What would you like to do after you finish education? How can you succeed in entering your chosen field? The importance of a post-secondary education.
Okay, so think about what you just read. I know you read it from me, but try to think about what you just read. That takes us to our next step. It's called question. After you scanned, we do scan our vocabulary and some of our subtopics. You would read those and process that, and I would like you to develop some questions about what do you think that this lesson will be teaching you, okay? So when we just read, let me go back over. What would you like to do after you finish your education? How can you succeed in entering your chosen field? And the importance of post-secondary education. What are some questions that you could develop to get more out of this reading? What do you think this is going to be about?
What type of career would I like to go for? What paths would actually help me, get to my goal?
Exactly, very good.
And what's the importance of the courses that I'll have to take to get to my goal?
Yeah. So choosing what courses that you would take. Some people will go to a vocational or trade school. Some people will go to college. Correct? Okay. Those are very good questions. So those questions is after we write our subtopics, our subheadings here. That's what we will write here. What would you like to do after you finish your education? How would you succeed in entering your chosen field, and the importance of secondary education? And then on this side, you would write your question, okay? So the first three, could you number those from 1 to 3? I won't have you write them right now for the sake of this video. But those three subheadings is what you will write there, okay? And on this side is where we will actually write our questions. And so we'll go back over them. You might have forgot them, but I kind of have them. And we also have this video. And you will write your question. Okay? And so our next acronym is READ. So we've scanned, we've developed questions, and then you will actually read the lesson. And when you read the lesson, you're basically going to get the answers to those questions that you asked. Does that make sense to you? Because you have developed thoughtful questions. Those were not questions of what color is the sky today. They were thoughtful questions that had to do Okay, so you will get your answers from me. Okay? After we read, you will rephrase or recite. That's our next R. It's 3 R's. So the information that you got, you basically just sum it up right here at the bottom in one sentence, telling me what this whole section was about. One, kind of like a thesis statement. Have you ever heard of a thesis statement?
Kind of like a medical thesis or a formula.
Not in that specific, maybe in the medical field it could be similar, but in this aspect, basically one sentence that sums up what we talked about.
Basically a formula.
Kind of a formula, but we're going to talk about it in this terminology. Okay. Give me a second, please. Hold on. And after you do all of that, these are what you review to answer your questions. Okay? So those are the S, the survey question, and then we went over the 3 R's, which was read, recite, and review. If you do all 3 of those, I'll pause there.